Hello, this is Mridul Mohan from group number 324. I'm explaining chapter number 11, Excitable Membranes from Biophysics and Introduction, written by Rodney Cotterhill. He's from Danish Technical University, Denmark. So, shall we start? Excitable membranes, ion movement and resting potential. Okay, so telling about the excitable membrane, it comes diffusion, mobility, resting potential. So, what are excitable membranes? These are found in cells like neurons and muscle fibers, are capable of generating electrical signals. These signals are essential for communication, movement, and other vital functions. The behavior of these excitable membranes is primarily determined by the movement of ions across the cell membrane. Second, diffusion and mobility of ions. So, diffusion is a spontaneous movement of particles from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. In context of these excitable membranes, the diffusion of the ion plays a crucial role in establishing and maintaining the electrical potential across the membrane. The rate of diffusion is influenced by the concentration gradient and the mobility of ion. So, concentration gradient. The difference in concentration of an ion between the inside and the outside of the cell creates a driving force for diffusion. A higher concentration gradient leads to a faster rate of diffusion. Mobility. Mobility of an ion is a measure of its ability to move throughout the solution. Ions with higher mobility diffuse more quickly than those with lower mobility. The mobility of an ion depends upon its size, charge, and the properties of the solution. Resting membrane potential. The resting membrane potential is the electrical potential difference across the cell membrane when the cell is not actively generating an action potential. It is primarily determined by the diffusion of potassium ions, K+, out of the cell and relatively impermeability of the membrane to other ions. So, resting membrane potential comes under two different topics, potassium equilibrium potential and relative permeability. So, potassium equilibrium potential is due to the higher intercellular concentration of K+ potassium ions tend to diffuse out of the cell. The outflow of positive charge creates a negative potential inside the cell. And relative permeability, the resting membrane is more permeable to K+ than to other ions such as sodium and chloride. This selective permeability contributes to the negative resting membrane potential. Then, ion channels. Ion channels are the protein complexes embedded in the cell membrane that allow specific ions to pass through. They play a crucial role in regulating the movement of ion across the membrane and consequently the electrical properties of the excitable cells. Voltage gated ion channels. These channels open or close in response to change in the membrane potential. They are essential for generating the action potential. Ligand gated for ion channels. These channels open or close in response to the binding of the specific ligand, such as neurotransmitter. So, ion pumps. Ion pumps are the proteins that actively transport ions across the membrane against their concentration gradient. They require energy, usually in the form of ATP, to function. Okay, the sodium and potassium pump is particularly important for ion pump for excitable cells. It maintains the concentration gradient of the sodium and potassium ions, which are essential for the resting membrane potential and the generation of action potentials. So, what are action potentials? Action potentials are a brief, all or none electrical signals that travel along with the length of a neuron or muscle fiber. They are generated by a rapid influx of sodium ions followed by a slower efflux of potassium ions. Then comes refractory period. The refractory period is a period of time following an action potential during which the cell is less excitable. This prevents the generation of multiple action potentials in the rapid succession. Excitable cell types. Excitable cells are found in various tissues and organs, including neuron. In neuron, nerve cells that transmit electrical signals throughout the nervous system. Muscle cells, cells that contract to generate movement. As you all know, endocrine cells, cells that create hormones. Sensory cells, cells that detect stimuli from the environment. So, understanding the principles of diffusion, mobility, and resting potential is essential for the understanding of the electrical properties of excitable membrane and their role in the cellular function. So, hereby, I'm winding off. Thank you so much.